I'm Hannah and I'm from the UK and I'm a first year International Relations and Arabic student.
Hi, I'm Denita and I'm doing the same course as Hannah, International Relations and Arabic. And I'm from Bulgaria and this is my first year at university. That I was a bit worried about whether I would cope with the work here, because all I know so far is schoolwork, homework, and being here it can quite challenge me to do the best of myself so that I can prove that I'm good enough for being here.
I think the thing I was most worried about was moving to a city as big and as daunting as London, especially if you're moving away from home for the first time. It's huge and it can be quite scary, but most people move here and absolutely fall in love with it, and then you meet great friends at uni through your halls or through your course, and I really don't know why I was so worried. It was really easy to settle into such an amazing city.
Yeah, it was quite easy to get used to the fact that you live in a completely overwhelming city.
It's like overwhelming.
Overwhelming, yeah.
There's always something to do, and that's brilliant. I think looking back, I would probably have been a bit more organised with notes and revision stuff, because the end of semesters, exams and papers just happen so quickly, and it would have been a lot easier had I been a lot more organised the first time round, rather than waiting until a couple of weeks before and having to sort it all out then. So just staying on top of things would also make revision a lot easier as well, because it is a really short term compared to high school.
I see your point, and looking back, I'll probably do nothing differently, given that if I made all the things right the first way, I would never know which is wrong and which is right. So if I would say that I would do something differently, I wouldn't do it, because it taught me to be how to be better. Looking back, I would say that the major challenge for me was being on my own, being independent, because this is the first time that I'm away from my family and my parents. And being independent comes with quite a couple of responsibilities, especially when it comes to partying and studies, because if you don't get organized at some point, you're going to lose yourself either in work or in partying, and this would be quite tricky at the end of the year when you had to do revision and exams.
True. I think one of the biggest challenges for me was being entirely accountable for my own learning and studying, whereas before in secondary school you're coddled and you have all this support to help you get through your exams. You're very much in charge of your own learning at university. There are staff members and support services put in place if you're struggling, but at the end of the day you're the only person that's going to be responsible for you passing or failing.
Yeah.
So to go from an environment where you were completely bubble wrapped to where you're
completely independent. It's quite a transition.
Yeah, that can be quite a challenge. I think as far as the first couple of months of university goes, it's really important to understand what's expected of you and what your assessments and stuff will require of you, so that you have enough time in advance to prepare for them.
Rather than just leave it to the end point.
Yeah, rather than just sort of show up and be like, oh, I have a paper to write. No, I think if you do a joint degree, a language and a social science are very different, especially in the structure that the university has for how they'll be taught. So being able to shift and manage both sides of the degree has been an interesting learning experience.
You're quite there, yeah. And actually another challenge for me was the fact that I have no background in Arabic language or culture, and given that some of my fellow students were having this advantage over me, I mean their parents were Arab or they knew some Arabic from before, I was a bit worried about that, but it ended up being good enough. And I think that
Yeah.
learning a language not in your native language, it's a bit tricky because English is not my mother tongue and it could be quite a challenge, but getting used to doing that, it was really easy, and you can get quite a lot of help, especially from your personal and your seminar tutors, so it will be
Yeah.
just fine.
Definitely.
If I have to advise somebody on what to do or not to do, I'd rather say don't be intimidated by the city or the lecturers or the fellow students here, because at the end, if you need help, you'll get it, just you have to ask for it. And I'd rather say that if you do your best, it will be enough. It will be enough for you and for all the others, because you show that you make an effort. And actually, at the end, it's supposed to be, you have to have fun, otherwise you get anxious or you get scared. You have to have fun and just relax, and everything will be just fine.
Very wise. If I had to give 3 pieces of advice, I'd advise students to get to know what's available to them, the support services.
Get informed.
Yeah, just know there's cafeterias, cafes, chaplaincies, health services.
Basically everything.
Most things that you could possibly ask for, and the student union's got ridiculous amounts of clubs and
Events.
things that you can get involved in. But it's up to you to sort of find out what those are and to engage with them. And they'll just add to your enjoyment of university. Also get to know the people on your course, and if you live in halls, in your halls. I've made some of the best friends I've ever made in a year, and because it's not like any other situation you've ever been in, it's really
new.
Yeah, it's new. It just really provides you with excellent opportunities to get to know people, and that's always fun. And then my 3rd piece of advice would be, like Denny, just to enjoy yourself. You are here to get a degree, but you are also here to get life experience and to grow as a person. And if you're always stuck in books and feeling miserable, then you're doing it wrong.
You'll never do it.
No.